Welcome back to another episode here on Hacks and Hobbies. And today I get to speak with Donna Dube. Donna, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. Thank you so much for taking the time and being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Donna, let's take a walk down memory lane and rediscover your origin story. What got you started and what it is that you do today?
Yes. So, probably like many entrepreneurs and many guests you have on your podcast, I have a very wavy path, not a straight and narrow path.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I actually started my career as a nurse and I worked in ICU nurse for quite a few years. Really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working with the patients. I enjoyed working with the families. But I found the shift work a little bit difficult,
Mm,
especially once I started to have children. So once we grew our family, I was finding the nights a bit difficult, and so wanted to make a change. At that time, my kids were not quite school age yet, but
mm-hmm.
heading that way. So I decided to stop and actually take care of them at home. And then I homeschooled them for a good portion of their education. So that
Nice.
was a big endeavor
Yeah.
for sure. But again, one I would not regret by any means. And then once they got older, I was again looking for, where do I fit? Where's my space in this world? And I've always been a manager, project manager from that side of thing. I always
Mm,
like to plan things. I've always liked to have everything in line beforehand. You won't catch me just spontaneously packing a bag and going on a holiday without knowing exactly the agenda, right?
right, exactly.
Um, and so I got into online work in terms of being a project manager. So coming in, especially in online businesses, and helping them manage a certain project. And that was great, but I found that I wanted to dive deeper. And so with the entrepreneurs I was working with, was helping them with that project, but there was so much more going on in their business
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted to dive into. And so I moved more into operations and then really helping them with their operations on the back end, because so many are focused on the front end, the marketing, the sales, the client delivery. But you get to a point in your business where your revenue plateaus and it's hard to grow faster without
Mm-hmm.
fixing that back end and having those systems and those processes set up. And so that's where I've landed. So now I work full time helping clients leverage three things: their time, their talent, and their tactics, in order to grow their business without working 24/7. Because I too was down that journey. And so when I first started my business, I was working nonstop.
Mm,
It was good. I was enjoying it. I didn't see any major problems. But my
right.
family were like, "Mom, when are we going to do?" My husband's like, "Are we going to have any time?
Mm-hmm.
We never see you anymore, right?"
Yeah.
And so for me, I was feeling fine. I was enjoying it, but I could tell it was affecting my family. And it was really just a wake up call from my husband saying, "Listen, something's going to break. And so you need to make a change before this break happens." And I didn't like it too much when he told me that, to be honest
Mm-hmm.
with you,
Of
because
course.
I was enjoying what I was doing. Um,
Yeah.
but I did take it seriously, and I had to, do a lot of reflection and a lot of learning, a lot of growing to be saying, okay, how can I run this business without being in there 24/7?
Right. I love that journey of going from that solopreneur. Oh, I can do everything and this is lots of fun. But then we realize that there's other people, other important people in our lives that also deserve of our time, right? Our kids,
Yes.
our spouses, and our family, because they love us and they want to spend time with us, and not just we're working on this project or this business or this hobby of ours where we're not giving them the due time that they also deserve. So I love that
Yes.
so much because you realize, and of course there has to be somebody from the outside telling us, hey, can you like course correct just a teeny bit because I know you love this, make it this a little bit better.
Yes. Yes, for sure. And, so many of us get into this because we look for freedom,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not normally financial freedom. Yeah, that's a bonus. If we get growing, we can make more than if we were, working for another company. But
Yeah.
for a lot of us, it's the time freedom, it's the flexibility, right? It's to have that control, but then we give it away,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We find that time freedom and then we manage to fill up that time. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Something that a home organizer said that anytime you find a free or open, nice clean desk, guess what's going to happen? It's going to start piling up stuff on it. Pretty soon, you don't have a place to sit down to eat your breakfast or lunch or dinner.
Yes, yes, it's true, right? And I found for me personally, it took a lot of, like I say, reflection and learning, but it was really honing in on where and what I'm doing with my time, right? So, okay, I'm working this number of hours, but what am I really doing each hour?
Hmm.
What am I really doing each half hour, right? And then really asking myself, is that CEO level work? Because I'm looking to run a business. I am.
All right, so we're recording with Donna Dube, and she just dropped off of the call. When she resumes, we can continue the conversation, and I'll pause recording for now.
Sorry to your editing team.
So Donna, welcome back. I can't remember what you were saying, but you were talking about the importance of being present and being aware of the situation and creating those time freedoms for us, and then yeah, go from there.
Yeah. So for me, it was really about, again, reflection and looking at exactly what I was doing in my day. So, yes, I was spending X amount of hours working, but what exact things was I doing?
Hmm.
And really asking myself, writing those out, and then saying, were those really growth level tasks? Were those really tasks to move my business forward? Because here I am as founder and leader, I'm CEO of this business, but what I'm doing does not reflect that.
Hmm.
I'm in Canva fiddling with a graphic. I'm in Lead Pages setting up this. Why am I doing that? Right.
Yeah.
And so, really being able to reflect on that and then saying, no, these are tasks that I can delegate or possibly automate some things. And the third thing was some things I just needed to pause. Because when I looked at the
Amen.
data, I was doing this thing because I should, or somewhere along the way, I thought it was good to do for my business. But when I look at the data, it wasn't bringing me a return on investment,
Hmm.
right? So, kind of taking the time to look at those things and say, listen, I can pause these things. That'll give me back some time. I can delegate some things and I can, set up some automations with all the software tools that we have to make things easier.
That's so true. And sometimes it's harder to let go of those things that we do, right? Because we know this is the best way to do it, and we want other people to do it the same way. But sometimes you just need to tell them, hey, here's the outcome I'm looking for. Do it however you would do it, and it's on you. So you're basically empowering them and giving them responsibility to be able to deliver what we think or what we want the outcome to be.
Yes. And I think you hit a good point there, which is you need to tell them what the expectations of what success looks like, right? So we say, okay, Sally Sue, I want you to do XYZ. This is what success looks like. And
Hmm.
let them find their way to get there, right? Yes, you're going to give them access to some tools and some things. You're not just going to, send them to the wolves, but letting them know what success looks like really
Yeah,
helps because then when you come back and give feedback, you're both being objective and saying, okay, this is what I wanted, this is what I got, here's the gap.
I love that so much. So, as you went from solopreneur to becoming your own CEO and bringing the team around you to make that possible, what are some of the things that you're helping others do in increasing that bottom line?
Right. So I think one of the big things is to remember we can start small. So if you don't have any team members right now, not even in, an independent contractor working 5 hours a week, you
Mm-hmm.
can start there. You don't need to rush out and hire someone full time.
Yeah.
Start small. Look at what are 5 or 6 things that I could have a team member do that would fit together in a job description as one role that would take 5 hours a week, right? Pay
Mm-hmm.
them hourly, have them track their time, meet with them so they're aware of, what you want done and when the deadlines are, that kind of thing. But you can start small. You don't have to go big. And that's what I did at the beginning. And then as found someone and was working with them, then we can slowly increase the tasks. You find out more about what that person is good at and what they like
Mm.
doing. And then you can say, oh, I could pass off this or I could pass off that, right?
Yeah,
But it's really taking that first step into the water. That's the hardest sometimes. And really, it's a mindset shift of saying,
it is.
I can do these things, but I believe that there's someone in this world that can do them better than me because this isn't my
That's so
zone of
true.
genius,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think sometimes most of the times why people don't go and hire somebody is because, well, it costs money,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know if I want to give $200, $300, $400 a month to somebody else doing the same thing that I can do. But what they don't realize is that your time is more valuable than the money that you're making.
A
Again, in the
hundred
beginning,
percent.
you might not be making any money and you're just getting started, and which is totally fine to do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you can find enough clients to support expanding your team, you're going to grow much, much faster.
Yes, totally agree. And I've actually had to sit down with CEOs and say, okay, how much is your hourly rate? So they give
Mm,
me what the hourly rate is. Okay. And yesterday you spent an hour doing whatever it is, right? So that cost you your business, your hourly rate times, that 1 hour. If it was 3 hours, it's three times your hourly rate. What
mhm.
happens if you hired a contractor for $30 an hour?
Yeah.
Big difference between your hourly rate and the
And
and the
they're hourly rate.
contractor, right?
Yeah.
And once they get into the flow and they get into it because it's something that they enjoy doing and it's their skill, it can happen faster than the hour it took you to do it.
Hmm. That's a really excellent example, and it's an example that I also resonate with in the book by Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap. And
Mm,
he one of his clients is a CEO who makes $1,000 an hour, and he spent 11 hours trying to figure out how to assemble and put this printer together, and he still wasn't able to figure it out. So he ended up hiring somebody for $100 an hour who was able to fix that problem within the hour.
you see?
Hmm.
Yes.
So he
Yes.
wasted $11,000 when he could have just spent $100 to
Yeah.
fix that issue.
Yes. Yes. And I know for some people, it's a bit of a trust because, well, this is my business. This is my baby,
Yeah,
right? I'm opening myself up. I'm becoming vulnerable. But again, you get to share the pieces of your business that you want to share, right?
yeah,
You have a new independent contractor coming. You don't need to share your revenue. You don't need to share your expenses,
right,
right?
exactly.
Yes, you want to share your vision. You want to share your mission so they know what the business is about and where you're headed. That, of course, is important. But, they don't need to get into your QuickBooks.
Man, I love that so much because when I was starting, or this was maybe years and years ago now, I would always say to myself, I wish I could clone myself, somebody
Mm,
who could do exactly what I can do. And then I discovered the book, The 4 Hour Work Week. And it
yes.
kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, wait, how are they trusting somebody else? I mean, if you have a clone of yourself, you have to trust that clone, right? But then you have this assumption that they know exactly that all the things that you do. But then sometimes that's kind of a problem because sometimes you don't want to do the work, and maybe your clone doesn't want to do the work, and you end up doing all the work. So finding the best people at the tasks that you're looking to do, I think, is the best route to do it. And sometimes it might take a time, right? So do you have some tips on how or where people can go to start
Mhm.
finding the right people?
Yeah, for sure. So I strongly believe that hiring for values is more important than hiring for skills. So, what I
Hmm.
mean by that is be crystal clear on what your business's values are, what your mission is, and where you're headed, and make that clear right from the get go. So that
Yeah.
should be in the job description. That should be in the ad that you put up when you're looking for someone, even if it's 5 hours a week.
Mm,
Because when you have someone who's aligned with you in their values, they've got that same headspace, right? You can easily teach them the skill of, clicking here and moving that over there.
right.
That can be taught easily, but you
Yeah.
can't teach values. You can't
Mm,
change a person's intrinsic way of doing things, right? So, really hiring right from the get go. So, it's clear in the job description. And why you put it there is that when potential candidates are reading, they're going to either feel attracted or repelled, right? If you have that there, just like the way you do your messaging when you're selling something, you're
mm,
trying to hone in on your ideal client, right? And your avatar and what their pain point is. So, you'll start repelling people who don't fit with your organization. And then
so,
again, when you get to the job interview stage, you're again going to have questions in there about values, right? So you've got a couple of hits along the way so that
mm.
you can make sure this person's value does align with mine.
And I love that so much because when you have those values in place, and that's something that I've listened to that a lot, having core values in your company, having core values in your business and your product offerings. But I didn't connect the dots of, hey, when I'm hiring somebody,
Mm,
they should know what these values are so that they can resonate with me and understand where I come from, what my background is, and what what I strongly feel about versus against.
yes, yes, 100%. Right. And I'll just give you an example. I've said already that I'm a planner. And so I like to plan things ahead of time. I
Hmm.
would like to be further ahead than most CEOs would like to
Yeah.
be because for a lot of the CEOs I work with, they're visionaries. Oh, I got this brilliant idea yesterday in the shower. Let's implement it like yesterday, right? And so
Uh-huh.
sometimes there's some friction there.
Yeah.
But when they understand that, yes, that's a good idea, but our team currently is working on these other projects. Are we
Right.
going to pull them away from that to do this?
Yeah.
We can iron that out. But if I'm interviewing or meeting with someone and they're perpetually last minute, right? That's the space they like to be in. That's how they
Hmm.
operate. Then I'm going to think twice about having a deep relationship with them because
Yeah.
that's not how I work, right?
100%. Man, I like that so much. This is making a lot of a lot of sense, and why it and how you put it together. It's beautiful because you've gone through the steps. You've helped other CEOs understand, hey, this is what's going to make your life, your health and relationship better because
Mhm.
you're not no longer sacrificing your time. You're no longer uh, doing everything. You're bringing in the right people for the right job.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
There's a, oh, sorry, go
yeah, go
ahead.
for it. No, you go
Yeah,
ahead.
the entrepreneur operating system is very popular these days, and I do like certain pieces of it. And they
Mm,
have a tool called the Right People, Right Seats, and it's so useful. You can download it for free from their
mm-hmm.
website, but it really does help you to look at: do I have the right people in my company for where I want the company to go, and are they in the right positions? Because so often we bring someone in, and especially at the beginning, that role changes and evolves over time. And so what we brought them in for maybe is something different than what they're doing today,
Yeah,
and it might not match their skill set 100%. So taking that time at least annually, if not, twice a year, taking the time to evaluate, do I have the right people in the right seats?
man, I love that. It's because um how my journey started was really interesting. I brought on somebody and they're like, "Hey, I can do all of these things." I was like, "Well, how about you do this one thing that I want kind of implemented?" And
Mm-hmm.
they did an excellent job. It's like, "Okay, this is good." And, I got what I asked for. And
Yep.
then I started training them and I started asking more things around what it is that was gonna benefit the podcast system, and it's really important to having that person be coachable and also have the mindset of growth and continually improving. And I love that about the the team member that I brought on
Mm-hmm.
because as somebody who's editing podcasts, you have to listen to the conversations we're having, right? So she got to listen to all these growth mindset concepts and growth mindset conversations, and it's helped her become the person who she is and be able to, launch her own business and launch her own production services and whatnot.
Beautiful. Nice. Yes, yes. And see, that's so good to see that
Yeah,
you brought on someone to help you, and then that has also helped them grow, which is wonderful.
yeah.
Hmm.
Donna, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, you'll share 3 hacks that CEOs can implement in their businesses so that they can live a better life. Good. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been talking with Donna Dube, the CEO whisperer. I'm just gonna call you that. I don't know if anybody has ever called you that, but I think that is an apt.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing what you've been able to do for yourself and for the clients that you worked with, and you've got some amazing hacks for us to listen to and implement in our lives. So let's jump right into those.
Yeah. So, number one is what I call CEO Power Hour. And basically, that's a 1 hour time. It's a recurring time on your calendar once a week that's non negotiable, meaning nothing else goes on top of that unless there's a life disaster, right?
Mm,
And so you have that 1 hour time. Doesn't matter if it's Monday morning, Friday afternoon, Sunday night, whatever works for your schedule, but it's a 1 hour time when you are focusing on reviewing and reflecting what's happened in your business for the past week, and also setting up what your 3 priorities are for
mm.
the week ahead. So you're designing those 3 priorities based on your goals. And what I like to do is think about it in 90 days, because thinking about whole 12 months at a time
Oh
becomes
my God,
overwhelming, right?
forget
But
about
if
it.
we
Yeah.
break that down into, I've got my 90-day goals, what do I need to do this week to take me one step closer to reaching those goals? And then making sure I have time on my calendar to do those 3 priorities. So that's sort of your power hour, non negotiable, has to happen every week. And then the second one is called Scheduling Ninja. And so it's really just looking at your calendar and making it work for you rather
Hmm.
than against you. And so many of us, when we start our business, we just, open the calendar. Anybody can book anything at any time, right? Because we want to be flexible. We're trying to get
Right.
clients in.
Yeah.
But there comes a point when that's not working for you, and you are
Hmm.
now being reactive to everyone else's needs instead of proactive to what you need. And so, really setting up, take a blank calendar. What do I need for family time or personal time? If you like to get a massage every third Friday, put that in the calendar.
Yes, please.
Right? So, whatever family time or personal time you need, block that off. Secondly, block off the hours in which you're going to be open, meaning the times when your clients and your team can find you and expect to get a response from you. And then within that time when you're open, set some major times of blocking time of things you have to work on. Well, what things? I have so many things to work on. Well, if we think about it, we can really narrow our business down to 3 main systems that have to keep rolling continuously: marketing, sales, and delivery.
Yeah.
So if you have set time on your calendar each week to work on those 3 systems, you'll see a big advantage. And then my third hack is your to do list. I like to approach the to do list from a strategic perspective. So you've got this big long list. Some of us say, well, I'm going to start at the top and see how much I can crank out in the next hour, right? Or you may pick the things that you enjoy doing and you like doing first. Neither of those 2 options are really being strategic as a
Mm.
CEO. What you want to be doing is saying, what things on my list do I have to do because I'm the CEO and are bringing me a return on investment? And those are the things you should be tackling first on your list. So those are my 3 hacks: Power
Man,
Hour, Scheduling Ninja, and to do list.
I like that so much. Thank you so much, Donna, for sharing the 3 hacks. They're absolutely actionable right now because we're all living in this fast-paced world where
Mm,
you don't know what you're going to do the next hour, or maybe you do, but you want to be better prepared for the days to come or the weekend to come. You always plan for the weekend, but do you plan for the week? So I
right.
think this is enabling them to plan for the week so that
Yes.
your business
Yes. And there's
Doesn't
a
separate.
quote by Brian Tracy who said that if you spend an hour planning, that saves you 10 hours of implementing. Well, who doesn't want an extra 10 hours in their week from
Yes.
planning for 1 hour, right?
Amen. I love that. I called you the CEO whisperer. There's that called Manfred. He's written a book, but he talked about meditations on leadership, life, and change. I think you can also be the CEO whisperer from the perspective that you bring from this interview and all that you've done over the past few years. So thank you so
Mm,
much again for coming on to the podcast. Now we go into the rapid hour question.
yes.
Sorry, the rapid fire questions. Number one, exploring uncharted territories. Name a hobby that you've always wanted to dive into but haven't yet, and why?
Mm, okay. So the hobby that I had when I was younger that I dropped and I wish I had kept up with
Hmm.
was playing a musical instrument. So, as a very young child, my parents decided to have piano lessons, and I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really that enthused with the piano lesson, to be honest with you, but I
Sure.
went and we did it. But then when I got to high school age, I really enjoyed playing the trumpet, and I wished that was something that I kept up in my life because I've tried to pick it up now, but not the
Mm,
same.
not the same.
So I do very much enjoy going to listen when people are playing live music. It's relaxing, it's entertaining for me. And when I see that, I wish, ooh, I'd still like to be a
I
part of
want to
that.
go back up there. Yeah, I resonate with that. I wish I'd learned how to play the guitar properly, but
Mm,
I never really got too far because I was like, oh, maybe I need a right-handed guitar as opposed to be the left-handed.
yeah,
But that
yeah.
wasn't the case because I just needed to practice more. But
Uh,
what I did do a lot more was sing in the band. So that was something that I enjoyed and I still do every once in a while when you get a chance.
nice. Yes.
And that's how I get this podcast voice, right?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. All right, next up, rewinding time. What childhood dream job did you aspire to, and how does it contrast with your current career?
Interesting. So I actually wanted to be a pathologist when I was younger. So I had the chance to go to a hospital and actually get into the pathology department and see how they were doing things. And I was really fascinated by the fact that we could learn so much by someone who has died to be able to help others. Right.
Hmm.
So the facts and the information that we can get from someone else's misfortune, we could use then to prevent others. And so that's where I wanted to go. But life throws its curveballs and I didn't end up
Yeah, it
going there.
does.
I did go into nursing, so I was still in the medical field from that
Very close.
perspective. But
Nice.
yes.
Nice. All right, and let's jump to the next one. From screen to life. Can you share a movie or TV show that entertains you and offers a lesson that resonates with your life or career journey?
Yes. Okay. I'm not big on movies and TV, to be honest with you. I do spend quite a bit of time reading.
Hmm.
So I have two books that I frequently return to. One is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I just so resonate with the golden nuggets in his book,
Hmm.
both for business, but also for personal life.
Yeah.
So many of his quotes I read and they just hit me and I'm like, oh, that's just so true. And so that's really helped me to grow and change and inspire me to get better from him. And then of course from the operations side, I've really enjoyed the book Traction, in terms of the business sense and how
Hmm.
we set up our business and how we move forward from that sense.
I love it. Next up, imagining yourself on the silver screen. If you could embody a character from any movie, who would it be? And how does this character's journey mirror or contrast with your own? I know you mentioned that you don't watch movie or TV shows, but I'm sure that this might have a answer for us.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, it's kind of funny, but I would say Superwoman.
Mm,
Just being that, I've been presented with many different things in my life and
yeah.
thankfully have been given some talents to be able to learn how to do things and move forward. And so I'm just happy that I've been exposed to so many things and then can use that skill in different ways. So yeah, superwoman.
Well, that kind of answers the next question. Navigating through the world of superheroes, who's your
Mm,
favorite? Is there a particular trait they possess that you wish to embody?
yes, yes. So I just think being able to solve problems when they come at you is something that I really work on.
Hmm.
It's something I enjoy doing, but being able to just get in there, whether it's my own problem, a client's problem, a friend's problem, but I think problem solving is a skill that I really inspire to work towards. And I feel like many of those superheroes, well, they have super capabilities that help
Yeah,
them to solve them, but that's what they do, right?
that's exactly what they do. That's so true. All right, next up, if your career or personal journey, if your career or personal journey was a board game, which one would it be and why?
Mm, good question. I think I would go with a strategic board game. Again, I've said that I very much like to look at the data and the metrics. So I'm not one to make a subjective decision. So something like chess, where you have
Mm,
to be, working out what the next steps are ahead of time, is where I like to sit.
I like it. Well, thank you so much, Donna, for your time, your energy, your wisdom, and the hacks that you've shared with the audience today. Where can my audience find you?
Yeah. So they can find me at my website, which is ceoamplify.ca. And if anyone wants to grab that CEO Power Hour, it's right there on the website. They can download
Nice.
it. And it's just a free resource to help you walk through how do I set up a Power Hour if that's something you want to do in your business.
I love it. Thank you so much, Donna. And until the next episode, we'll catch you soon.
Thank you.